Okay. Hey,
Hey,
hey, everybody.
hey, it is 30 minutes after the hour, and we're ready to
Yeah,
get started. Hey,
yeah,
y'all jump on in here. Y'all come on, jump on, jump on, jump on.
yes.
Dating God's way,
Dating God's way.
streaming live, late night. And y'all know when it's late, the filters kind of go off.
Uh-oh.
And, and
Uh-oh.
I'm feeling in my go-go wheel mood. You know what I'm saying?
No, no, no.
Is that you out there?
No, we don't want go-go wheel tonight.
Is that Chip I see?
No, we don't want go-go wheel tonight.
Tatiana I see? Michelle and Tara?
No,
No.
no.
Yeah. Yeah. So feeling kind of the go-go mood tonight for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, I think I know. We talked about a lot tonight. But
Share,
anyway,
share the stream. Thank you for
yeah,
joining.
y'all start sharing. Oh,
Sharing is caring.
Bop Bop. I see you, Tara. What you know about Bop?
Oh, y'all don't encourage him. Tell Michelle
Woo,
we're encouraging him.
woo. Hey,
No,
that used to be one of our calls. That was somebody's call. Whoop, whoop. Oh my goodness. We talking about way back in the day. Okay, Pastor E. Hey, hey, I met you at the Go Go.
yeah,
Not
we got.
at Go Go Band rehearsal.
Nah. Don't even start this stuff tonight. Y'all, come get y'all pastor. Stop this stuff tonight. Please come get y'all pastor. Woo! Come get your pastor tonight, y'all.
I met you at the good old Go Go Band rehearsal, sitting right there up on 202. No, all right.
Nah.
Hey. So, hey, we got a fun night tonight. I think it's a
Fun
fun
night
night.
tonight,
We
yes.
want to talk about what the title says: a woman or man to desire,
Yeah, who
or
do you
as
desire
it
and
says,
yeah.
huh?
Now go ahead. I was reading your other side, your other
Or
title. Go
what is
ahead.
it?
Who do you desire and are you to be desired?
Yeah, who do you desire, and are you to be desired? But this round of Getting God's Way is coming from sponsored to you just by everybody, I guess. It's just by everybody. Everybody who we've been pushing all month, all 2 months long. Vision Hybrid Learning Center, Vision Impact Center, Ebb Tech Consulting. Did we get the T Inspires?
Yes.
Um, who we have? My brother Chris Holmes Music, and then everybody else. Shout out to everybody else who have allowed us to post their product here and their services here on Dating God's Way Stream. Okay,
Okay. Here
okay. Here we go, Pastor E.
we
Uh,
go.
so let's get into it. A woman or a man to desire. And so
Yeah.
we're coming from the Bible here, right? We're coming from the Bible and we're basing this woman or this man out of Proverbs and
31. Now just
Ephesians.
start verse 31.
Proverbs 31 and Ephesians 5, right?
Okay, I think you said just in Proverbs 31. We
Yeah, Ephesians
already
5.
cut up tonight, guys.
You
Y'all
had me you had me all studying Ephesians 5.
go ahead.
Um,
I thought we were just on Proverbs 31
so,
tonight.
so we're gonna explore this woman to be desired, or even if you want this kind of woman to be desired, this virtuous woman.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a man that also is in Proverbs 31. It talks about the husband in that context as well. The type of husband, the Proverbs 31 husband.
Well, do you even desire this type of woman? Hey, Sean, what? What up? What up?
Hey,
What up, Sean? Good to see you,
good
man.
to see you.
Yes, yes. So
Yes.
yeah. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's talk about this desired Proverbs 30, or this not desire, this virtuous virtuous woman, or the man in wait for a virtuous woman, or
The man
if
for a virtuous woman.
the man for a virtuous woman to be desired. So let's get into it. E.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we think about this context, we have heard a lot about the Proverbs 31 woman, but it also gets into it talks about the husband as well in this Proverbs 31. It talks about the husband as well, and so we had a question that we saw this week, and I wanted to pull up that question right quick because it kind of sparked this conversation. So I wanted to get that picture up really quickly. But the question was, are there any, let me see, I'm going to get it exactly right, y'all. Let me see if I can get it right tonight. Are there, so the first question was, what makes a man marriage material? And then what kind of woman or what kind of man connects with a Proverbs 31 woman? And so when we, started to dissect Proverbs 31, it's this question of, is this the type of woman that you desire to be? And then is there what's the suitable for a Proverbs 31 type of woman? That's our question for tonight. What is the suitable for the Proverbs 31 woman? Because when I look at the Proverbs 31 woman, I'm like, wow. Okay, so I don't know if you guys read this before, but Proverbs, I keep saying Psalms, sorry. Proverbs 31, 10 through 31, it says that the Proverbs woman is a woman of noble character. Okay? A woman of noble character. She gets up while it's still night. She provides food for her family. She can buy her own field. Okay, out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Right? I mean, going through what this woman, this Proverbs 31 woman, who she is, to me is amazing. So the question is, do we still see that type of virtuous woman today? Is that who we as women of God, is that who we desire to be?
Yeah, yeah. Or as a man, is this the type of woman that you desire? You know, do you want the virtuous woman that the Bible speaks of? I mean, when I look at the characteristics of a virtuous woman, um, she not only thinks of herself in the light of how she pleases and take care of her husband and her children, but she also don't lose sight of the poor. She takes care of the poor, and she doesn't lose sight of even raising other women up to be virtuous. And so, this woman is all encompassing, and it almost seemed like that this woman almost really don't have too much time for herself based on this scripture that she has given over her life for others. Is that accurate, Patsy?
Absolutely. I mean, she's a businesswoman. She is a person that takes care of her family, but she also is a businesswoman. She's an entrepreneur. When I look at the Proverbs 31 woman, I see a lot of myself in this text. She is someone who, sometimes I think the one of the greatest things about this conversation we're going to have tonight is when you think about the role of a wife, many times it is projected that, there's this idea that the wife is this subservient, to the husband, that the wife is, this the idea of like the barefoot and pregnant wife, that this is the idea of the woman. But when we look in this word of God, we see that this Proverbs woman, she was a businesswoman. She was an entrepreneur. She not only took care of her family, but she had enough earnings to buy her own vineyard. She is like vicious, right? And so I think what it does is it puts us in a space to deal with some of the questions, Pastor Will, about what happens if the wife makes more than the husband. Where does this fit in this conversation we're having tonight about the Proverbs 31 woman?
Well, I don't think it's a big secret that you this year you have eclipsed my earnings. Woohoo!
For the first time, y'all, in almost 20 years.
Woohoo! I can now retire and I can now retire and be a virtuous stay-at-home dad. Tired of working. Oh my goodness. But yeah,
what
was the question?
A woman with having this Proverbs 31 woman, how does this deal with the fact that this type of woman could make more than her husband?
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing, but and I'll say this: just because one makes more than the other doesn't automatically makes them the breadwinner, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And so, and I think we have, I mean, we've come off a big weekend talking about culture. I mean, it seems like we've been talking about culture since Sunday now.
Yeah.
And I think we are still in a culture that promotes this thing of being weak if the wife makes less than the husband, or
more than a husband.
If the wife makes, you're absolutely right. Yes, if the wife makes more than the husband, and then there is this unfortunate stain of the husband not worth anything, or the insecurities of it, and or the just the feelings that are there, right? And so, but as you see with this virtuous woman and the husband, that even though that the woman did all these things and she brought in income, I never read at any point where they weren't a team, that they weren't together.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so, and as as you and I go, we talk about, who now eclipse who in salary or whatever, but in the same manner, it's all household income. It's all one. We a team, and I couldn't have made it to where I made it without you, and you couldn't have made it where you made it without me.
Absolutely.
And so whatever happens, whatever the total gross income is something that we have done together. And that's the virtuous woman, and the man that desires, or the man that has married this virtuous woman, is that they have a realization of their reality is that they are a unit. They work hand in hand, step in unity together, step to toe, and whatever it is. Together, they're together.
Yeah, because this idea then about who makes the most is a worldly concept. we see here, right? We see here that the Proverbs 31 woman had capacity, not only capacity to make babies, and she did, not only capacities to take care of the house, and she did, but she had capacity. She had capacity to, be a businesswoman. I think this is a kingdom perspective that we have to get out there.
Yeah.
Women, the capacity that women carry, right? The capacity that women carry is key. It's an important part of the conversation, right?
I see Chip feeling my go-go mood. Don't trip, Chip. No,
Here we go. Yes. And so, so in our conversation tonight, I just think that it's important that as we continue this talk about the Proverbs 31, it really gives us an idea of a woman who doesn't meet the kind of the what we've seen as what a wife should look like, even from a societal perspective. Is it women that look like this? Yes. But is it something in culture that we're taught as women, as men and women, that it's good? That it's good to be this type of woman? What I've heard most in being this type of woman is you doing too much.
Well, but I think I might be stepping ahead here, or I might be stepping back. I think we have to knock down this notion about, or this misconception about being boss.
Okay, let's get it.
Because when you see a woman on top, or a woman in charge, they consider them boss, right? They say that they boss now or whatever, but this virtuous woman, she lived, it looks like, according to the scripture 31, Proverbs 31, she lived in this place without per se this boss type appeal, that she lived out of this place in a kind of from a subtle place. You know what I'm saying? She didn't use her virtuous character and the things that, the money and whatever that came to her to be boss, to be a king, to be a queen, to be whatever. She did it because this is just who she was. This is just was her makeup and how God made her to be.
Sure. I mean, look, she, and all of the things she did, it says she still opened her arms to the poor. She extended her hands to the needy, right? So she, absolutely, she worked vigorously, but also, the attitude, as Kanisha is saying, was an important part of her makeup, not just what she did, but her attitude was an important part of, her makeup as well. And so, as we wait for Pastor Will to get back, I do think that it's I do think that it's, this, I will say this though, Pastor Will, because, I think this has been a conversation that's been happening over the ages about, women and their, women who, I've heard women experience who are single, who are executives or who've made it to a certain space in their careers that, are worried about, what kind of man they're going to be able to get, because when they go to work, they are the boss, right? Yeah. When I go to work, I'm the boss, right? And so how do we make sure, because when I read Proverbs 31, I see a woman who was in charge of things. So how, I know the attitude is an important part of it, but also how do we bring the correct perspective? And the fact that she could be the boss.
Yeah.
She owns things.
Yeah, when I talk about this, when I talk about the boss, it's like this this attitude and this thing that now surrounds this word boss, and this it takes on a this word or this word boss now really takes on this other persona
Yeah,
of being dominant, right? Of really being dominant, and and this is for male and female. I mean, this is not this is I'm not speaking um you know
just to women.
just to women, right? It's this boss persona um that has now is creating, is adding another bit of toxicity to this culture that we are living in and living out now.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying?
sure. Yeah, I mean, yes, I think helping to change the perspective of this, I think is key because we are in a era where we have a lot of women who, even without, the character aspect of Proverbs 31 is very important. Her character, as Brother Chip says, her servant leadership, it was that all of those things are really key about who she was. But I do think also it causes us to shift from the perception of seeing women in just the, you know, barefoot and pregnant role.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I prefer to say it like this, and now bring it out in this light that you know woman was so important that God had to use a woman to bring forth Jesus. He ain't use a man to do that. He used the woman to bring forth himself. And so we see the very importance of the woman,
Yeah,
you know, and I think society has not done itself any good to maybe limit or box in the woman. And here we are now in the 21st century, and we are still fighting for and we going off rails here, but we're still fighting for women equality, and
absolutely.
and pay in other
Yeah,
areas.
and yeah, go ahead.
But here we are with this virtuous woman who came in at a time way before now and was able to accomplish something that was really rare even in her time, was to buy vineyards and to be a master of the marketplace and still take care of her husband and still take care of her kids and still be a pillar in her society, in her community. And so we are talking about a woman even before that, even in that time, how much she had to push and pull for to be this virtuous woman. This was a woman that didn't give up. This was a
Yeah,
woman that didn't quit. And who shouldn't desire a woman like that?
yes, absolutely.
Because when
Um,
you got when you got a woman like that, you know that that if ain't nobody else got your back, that this woman right here, she's pushing and she's pulling for you. She's on your side. She may have some
absolutely.
opinions, but she's on your side.
She might have some opinions. So let's flip the script for a minute before we get into questions. The Proverbs man. So when we look at the text here, because I like to look at the text. We look at the text, Proverbs 31. We see that her husband had full confidence in her. So the husband in this Proverbs 31 really had respect for his wife. It says she is worth far more than rubies. He treasured his wife. We also see that, in another context, it says that, he had complete trust in her, right? That he will have no lack of gain. So he, created an environment where he believed that she would flourish. And I think that is a key component. He was an encourager. Says at the end of it, it says that the children called her blessed, and so did the husband. So he was an encourager. And so I think when we talk about this, we often talk about the woman in the help meet position. Now we're going to kind of flip the script a little bit on tonight. We're going to flip it a little bit, that the Proverbs 31 husband, the Proverbs 31 man, also has to be a man that treasures and respects his wife. He has to be the type of man that creates an environment for his wife to flourish.
Yeah, I in this same light, Pastor E, I always say, that a spouse is each other's biggest enabler.
Absolutely.
And when I read about the Proverbs, man, is this one line here gets me, is where her husband is known in the gates.
Yeah.
That means that he's known in the city. That means that she enables him to sit at the gates and among the other elders,
Yeah.
and be who he is, because of what she does, what she does to help the household. It enables him to lead the community along with the elders.
Yes,
So
this
I
is
think,
not a weak positioning.
Go ahead, say it again.
This is not a weak positioning.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's an enablement.
Yes, it's the ability for both people to be who they are. Who it's an enablement, a flourishing where both people get to flourish. He was, he sat at the gates. He was known at the gates. He was somebody who had respect among the elders. And so, it's a cultural, shift, right? As we've been talking about, a shift in how we see men from a biblical perspective. Not seeing the woman or the man as subservient based on money and materialistic things, or who has the bigger position of authority. All of those things should not factor into desire.
And when I speak about enablement, and at times in our journey, especially in our careers, one had to stay stable, so it would enable the other one to take risks that they need to take, whether it was to jump job to job, or to find to find a spot where they can stick in, so to hold the household, and the other one will be have to that stable one to hold the household down, and but this is what this virtuous couple does.
Yes, the virtuous couple. Somebody write that. The virtuous couple.
The virtuous couple. This is what this virtuous couple does. It's everything is for the unit. Everything is for the family unit. And and we still talk at times where, okay, some things are happening on my job. Okay, well, I am the I'll hold it down for a minute and let you explore. And I think it's just it works great like that when you're able to do it, and without feeling competitive or threatened.
Yeah, I think, as you talk about that, as we now look back, because what happened is, during the time when these things were happening, we couldn't see that it was leading us to this place, right? We didn't know that enabling one another, taking turns, as we call it, we didn't really know that it was setting us up for this. It was setting us up for this dynamic that we've been able to experience. And, I really appreciate, I think I've probably been the biggest risk taker in this. Thank you for all
you weren't probably, you were.
Go ahead, put me all the way out there. I am the biggest risk taker. You got it right. I am the biggest risk taker.
However, in these last 5 years, I may have outdid you a little bit.
I mean, I have an appreciation for, definitely those years that you allowed me to take big risks. I mean, like really big risks. Because they paid off. And I think that's a great, when we start to talk about what kind of woman, what kind of man of God, woman of God, it's the ability to make something together, to have the ability to trust one another so much that you can say, I'm going to hold it down for this time period while you get to explore, and, that we've done that for each other. And I really appreciated that, within our virtuous relationship. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we got a question.
We got questions?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we got many answers. Let's see. Questions.
You found it?
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, we got it. All right. So can you get into the needed independence in our unmarried state that jointly brings us together in our time of unity as becoming one? Okay. Somebody said this mature tonight. Go ahead. So this is a mature conversation tonight. Yeah. So, the needed independence in our married state, right? So what kind of independence is needed? I'm just going to break this question all the way down in each piece of it. What would you say, Pastor Will, is the needed independence in the unmarried state?
Wow, the needed independence in your married. Like if you unmarried, especially as an unmarried, I mean, I can't imagine that you are not experiencing any independence at all right now.
Well, Pastor Will.
Huh?
Pastor Will.
Yeah.
I think right now we having a conversation because that could be the case.
Yes.
So what is the needed maturity? What if somebody is coming and they don't have any independence? They're not independent. What is there a level of independence that you should have prior to getting married?
It's a good question. I mean, the question got me stumped a little bit, just a little bit, a little bit.
I mean, I have an opinion because I most generally do, right? That I think it depends.
Get me started. You get me started.
Okay, I think it depends on your age. The level of the independence that's needed depends on the age of the couple, meaning their like how old they are, right? For example, we got married in our 20s, right? We had some space and some room to like screw up a little bit, right? But the older you get, the less room you have for some of that, right? So I do think that when we talk about what's the needed independence in the unmarried state, I think that's an age question, right? Because the older you get, the more independence you should be experiencing so that when it's time, you can bring that into the relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still stumped here.
I know.
Because it's like, what's the needed independence? Like,
yes. How much independence
you like?
Have?
But I'm like this, E. You know your dependencies. You know where your cord is still bound to somebody else, where you haven't cut umbilical cords yet. And yeah, and that's the way I see this question, is that can you get into the needed independence in your unmarried state? This means that the umbilical cord is still connected somewhere that's causing your dependency on something. That's why I'm stuck with this.
I mean, look, I think you have a lot of spaces where there could be dependencies. For example, if someone was locked up before, let me just take it all the way down tonight. If somebody had a relationship with drugs at some point in their life, right?
Yeah.
If someone, never been in there we go. She's right now the rest of the things that was about to come out of my mouth. They can't keep a job. They haven't never been independent from their mother and father. They have a poor mentality. All of those are dependencies. They are dependencies, as you state, that this person could be tied to. But how much of that do they need to get free from and have experienced some things on their own before they're really ready to, become one with another person?
And that's a good question. And I'll ask, whether it's you or whether it's the other one, is how much of this do you want to marry? How much of this do you want to compensate for? And how much of this do you want your spouse to compensate for? Because somebody's going to have to compensate somewhere. If you're having job struggles, then somebody's got to compensate. They always keep a job if keeping a job is a right. If keeping a job is a thing, somebody's got to compensate for it.
Yeah.
Never been independent from mommy and daddy. Guess what? Yeah. Somebody's going to have to get time. Somebody's going to have to sketch out time for them to see mommy and daddy all the time. Can I get an amen? Amen. I'll say amen to myself. Amen. I'll be transparent. I'll be transparent as I want to be, because I can, because this is my live stream. But I was very dependent on my mom and dad over at 3611, where I was over there, especially when we got married. I was probably over there more times than I was at my own house, because it was my comfort zone. But thank God I had a wife that, she never complained, she never murmured or whatever, but she allowed that to work out of me.
Because frankly, it was something I could live with. None of them other things, I can't say I could live with them, but that I could live with. I think, Pastor Willie's point is the greatest point. It's like, what can you live with? What are you okay with taking up the slack in? And I saw that as something he will mature out of. I saw that as something that's like he a mama's boy. He gonna be a mama's boy forever.
100%.
Forever.
Forever. But
how much of that am I willing to deal with? Some of the other things that's on here, probably not. You're not eligible. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna get back into that tonight. Woo! Yeah. So go back to the age thing though. Like somebody said, like we're in our 30s. What can we live with? Right. And so I do think. Woo! I'm sorry, but y'all are hilarious tonight. I was reading all the comments right now, guys. If you get a chance, get in this comment section right now. The comment section is getting into a whole thing. So yes, go back to the age thing though. Like somebody like, look, we're in our 30s. What can we really live with at 30 years old? And I think that's a great question to ask. We're talking about what's desirable to you. You need to be very clear about what's desirable and what's not. What is something you're willing to take the weight of and something that you're not?
And what are the things that you're taking in also? I mean, like it's twofold. Somebody's bringing in something and you bringing in something else.
That's correct. Yeah. So it's like, are you the Proverbs 31 or somebody also going to be carrying you? I think that's a great point that Pastor Will made. Like, making sure, as we talked about in another stream, that you have that balance as well. You don't have
Right.
your expectations all the way up here.
Nobody's going to come into a relationship perfect.
Yeah.
But we all have to come into a relationship with some expectations of knowing that there are going to be some things I'm going to have to carry on my back for this relationship to last, or for this relationship to move forward and move along in the way that God desires it to move into.
Yeah. Yes, the table analogy. Absolutely. So yeah, I think, this conversation we're having tonight about, it's really, part of it is about being clear about what your expectations are. Because I could tell you this, Pastor Willie, he expected a Proverbs 31 wife, period. Okay, he wanted.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yes, you did. You told me. Here we go, y'all. We're about to get into it tonight. You told me that your wife needed to work.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, you did.
You see now?
Yes, you did. You weren't coming into this relationship not making no money.
Y'all see that?
We needed this double income because we needed to live at another level.
So the point of that is that you need to be clear about your expectations. That's what this desirable and who's desirable and what's desirable really is about, being clear about what you expect and not allowing the fuzzies and the butterflies in your stomach to psych you out, that you're willing to accept something that you really don't desire. That you really, at the end of the day, gonna be ready to get divorced. No. This is a good time to get clear.
Funny story, after Pastor E had Kaylin, our first child, and I was big when we first got married, before we got married, our thing was, you're gonna work. We all work.
His thing was, I enjoy working, but his thing was this, y'all, just to be clear.
We all gonna work. We gonna stay in this house together. We all gonna, yeah, I sound right country right now. We gonna stay in this here house together. We all gonna work. And but after she had Kaylin, she decided she had a brief moment that she was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and I didn't like it. That wasn't part of the deal. The deal was whatever child you had, and mind you, we had Kaylin 4 years into the marriage, so we had a couple of years behind us by the time Kaylin came.
4 years, y'all.
4 years. And I was like, oh no. You said that you was gonna work in this marriage. But at the same time, I had to give way and tell her, okay, well, if that's the case, you can do that. That's fine.
And then what? What did you say?
But we about to downsize everything. We about to go live in a 2-bedroom apartment.
You guys. Foolery, y'all. Foolery.
And so Pastor E went back to work. My virtuous woman
went back to work.
My virtuous woman went back to work.
Listen, that is definitely his part. His perspective of the story.
yeah, Kanisha. I'm the originator of the cancel culture. I am the originator.
He was canceling everything. We not eating no more crabs. We not. I mean, you not eating no more crab. Everything. But you know what though? Let me tell y'all what really happened. The real story is when, first of all, when I was pregnant with Kaylin, I was 7 months pregnant. I got a new job. Okay, I walked into a office with a humongous belly and got a new job, right? Because I desired to work. That is a reality. But what happened was I was home with Caleb for 3 months. And y'all know what happened? In reality, I figured out stay home mom is not really for me. I like to work. I need to work. I definitely have the Proverbs 31 mentality. So it really was not past the wheel. But that was his expectation. That's a true fact. That was his expectation. He just really, we don't believe in lucked out, but he really, he was blessed to be able to find a woman who wanted to work. That's what worked in his favor. Amen.
Had to work like I work. Amen. 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 Any more questions tonight before we get off?
Crazy.
Any more questions tonight before we get off this stream? What
You
y'all
know
got?
yeah, any more questions tonight? Because you know what? I will say this though, that you have to know what your thing is. Now,
Yeah.
Pastor Willie's thing really is about working. He really honors the working. He wanted a wife that worked. But y'all know what my thing was in reality? What was my thing, Pastor Will?
What was your thing? Oh, you got to refresh my memory. I don't. What was your thing?
What was my thing? My thing is I really wanted a husband. I really wanted a husband who had a relationship with God. That was my
Oh,
main.
absolutely.
That
That
was
was
my main thing. I really wasn't tripped off the money because I can make my own money. I have lived off of. Let me just say, I have lived well off of $10 an hour, for real. So I wasn't worried. I was independent. I wasn't worried about having someone who could take care of me because I could take care of myself. I always knew that I could take care of myself. I was raised by a single mother. I didn't have my father in my life. So I wasn't worried about having a man that could take care of me. I was worried about having a man who knew Jesus. That was my that was my thing. I wanted someone who wanted to be in relationship with God, who wanted to be in the ministry. Those things was important to me. So you have to be clear when we talk about what's desirable. It's what's desirable to you, not what's desirable to Proverbs 31. You're
yeah.
not looking for a Proverbs 31 candidate. You're looking for the things that absolutely, Sarah, absolutely, right? Yes, absolutely. It had to be you're not looking for the Proverbs 31 checklist. You're looking at the man or the woman that you desire, and you have to know what is important to you. Now, it can't be all 31 things on the list, but there are some. When they say 31 flavors, it can't be 31 flavors, y'all. But there is something in your heart that is key for you, and you have to know what that is. I think that is paramount to our conversation tonight. What is the thing? Not the things, not the 80 things, not the checklist. What is the thing that you know in your heart? If I don't have a person that fulfills this, with Pastor Willie, it was work. With me, it was relationship with God and ministry. Whatever it is, if I don't have this, I know it ain't gonna work. Become clear about that.
So Proverbs 31:1 says, "The words of Lemuel, the utterances which his mother taught him." And
Oh,
so, and so the virtuous woman comes from Lemuel's mom, and what she described to him and what he kept in his quiver and put it in his writing of what a virtuous woman is,
yeah,
what she displays
yeah.
in everything, and so us as men, um, who is especially unmarried men, but who's speaking into your quiver about the woman you should desire, right? Who's speaking? what utterances are you writing down now
Yeah.
as Lemuel mom gave him? What has been given to you, and what was given to you now that you know Christ yourself needs to be in alignment with the Father,
Yeah.
and just not based off of the culture under which you came under.
Yes.
You know, because Lemuel mom, she shared something with him that was so far out of their culture. A woman that owned the marketplace
Yeah.
still loved her family just as hard as she loved making money.
Woo.
Who's speaking into your quiver about the
Mhm.
woman you should want to desire?
Yes, 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 yes. So I think, some of the things that we can take away from tonight is not necessarily what that person, quote unquote, brings to the table. Only that's not the factor, but the more factor is, does this person support, you know, your personal growth? Do you support one another's personal growth? Do you are you trying to be in relationship with someone that you can build with? Does this person honor what's in you, who you are, how God has uniquely made you? Do they want to enhance that? I think those are some key factors. And then, of course, our starting one: do they have noble character?
But at some point, I think we should write this topic down too. I think at some point we're going to have to talk about, even telling off this woman or man to desire. We're going to have a conversation about marriage material. You ever heard that term? Now, before I got married, before you and I married, I heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Oh man,
marriage material.
She marriage material, and this was only based off her walk. Oh man, she marriage material. You ain't have no idea what kind of drama,
Woo!
That walk had in it. If that walk had STDs attached to it, but she was marriage material.
What?
And so and so we have to begin to really, a woman or man to desire also, who is and what is marriage material.
Yeah, what makes somebody marriage material?
Marriage material. One of the sayings back in the day was, "Oh, can she cook?" See, if you could cook, that was marriage material. But back in the 90s, I don't know many DC women that knew how to cook. You had to go down to North Carolina to get a good meal. That was marriage material.
Watch yourself. Watch yourself tonight. Please. Watch yourself tonight here. Here. Watch yourself here.
I ain't say you, Bill. I ain't say you.
Watch yourself.
I ain't say you.
Look, cooking and having babies. That's what I said, barefoot and pregnant. So we definitely got to get to a different kingdom. People definitely got to get to a different space in our thinking about what it takes to be marriage material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo, Lord. So here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. Here we are.
A woman or man to desire.
A woman or man to desire. Proverbs 31. The Proverbs 31 woman who was a boss, just to be clear, buying her own vineyards. Y'all know Pastor E love it. And then the Proverbs 31 husband. They was flourishing together. Love it.
Who was a leader?
Yes.
In the eldership of their community.
Yes. Who called his woman blessed, who supported her. Yes.
You didn't do nothing, Chip.
Woo! Y'all coming up tonight.
It's just a little late, Chip. Just a little late.
Just a little late. Just a little late. Yes. Virtuous couple. Yes, yes, yes. That's the goal. The goal is to be a virtuous couple. All right. All right. Excellent. Excellent tonight. Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
y'all.
yes, yes. Yes, we are seeking virtuous couples. Yes, excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you guys so much for joining tonight. Dating God's Way.
Dating God's Way.
Yes,
Hey,
again. Yes.
message us, chat with us, continue to comment if these Dating God's Way episodes is blessing you. Keep chiming in, and we'll respond as soon as we can. But thank y'all for keep joining us each week.
Yeah,
Here
somebody
every
said
Tuesday
dating
night.
applications. That's another episode. Dating applications.
Dating applications. Okay. Got you.
We also think about Christian dating. So tell us what y'all think about. I mean, what is it? Not Christian dating. The Christian sites.
We did that, didn't we?
No, we didn't do the Christian dating sites. Like
we did that last week.
We did not. You need to go to bed. We did not do that last week.
We did Christian dating sites.
Christian Mingle. We did not. They telling you right there. Christian Mingle. We did not do that. You need to go to bed. That was not like it was a question. We did not do that.
I thought we did Christian Mingle. I feel like we talk about it all the time. But we'll jump in. See, we touched on it at one point recently.
Somebody said eHarmony. So for example, people asking questions about it, but we have not delved into the topic. We have not.
Okay. So we'll delve into on
Black people meet.
Black people meet what?
Facebook dating. Pastor Will, there's a market for this subject.
Y'all stay safe.
Here we go. Now he gonna just go.
Yeah. That's the advice that was given to me. Just stay safe.
Yes. But let's talk about how to do it.
But let's talk about how to do it. It's serious out here, y'all. It's serious out here.
Serious out here.
And you have to be aware and discerning. But until the next time, so next week we'll talk about eHarmony, Christian Mingle, Facebook dating, Black people meet, Black Planet, all the dating sites.
Meet me in the DM, Instagram.
Oh my goodness, Instagram. No flesh eating. Oh my goodness.
Let's get into a whole nother subject. Oh, Father.
No. Oh, Lord.
Lord, y'all, come back.
y'all deep tonight. Y'all deep. It's late for y'all too, huh?
It is late.
It's late for y'all too. Yes, Yvette. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Thank y'all so much for joining.
Thank y'all so much for joining.
Tonight.
We'll get some more guests up here real soon for you guys. Some good guests. Amen. Yeah, not the DMs though. Yeah. Tell people to stay out of your DMs.
We're gonna get into it. Just like we said, we're gonna get into it.
Tell them to stay out of it for this week until we come back with our next episode.
Go ahead. So get some wisdom.
So to be continued on the next episode of Dating God's Way.
What makes you marriage material coming soon?
What makes you marriage material coming soon? Next week we're gonna dig into Christian dating sites though.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll dig into it. I mean, they blowing it up. We'll dig into it. All right. God bless you guys.
It will be fun live. We're gonna think about it. Okay.
Okay.